So who uploaded CAD drawings? So as I said, we are going to look through the drafts. So these are should be about 3/4 of the way done, at least at this point. Preferably a little further. Plans and sections. So who uploaded? Tatiana, you did? And which project are you on?
The hut.
The hut. Okay, so that's the last one. So remind me to get that later.
And I did it. I'm working on the Tepoztlan.
The lounge. Okay, so I'll get that now.
Yeah.
So I could get them both now. So give me 1 second to get these. I think you could look at this piece. And they should be uploaded to here. And I'll do this over here. 1 second. One more minute. Just going to stop this for 1 second. Okay. Just open up mine and then we'll be ready. So in general, what issues? Issues with getting them onto Paperspace, getting them scaled and aligned? Or several people having that one? Yes.
I was having issues with the images, like when I was trying to hide the images. Like I don't know if it was because I started on a different drawing and then copied and pasted into like the template, because I didn't start originally with the template.
Yeah, I don't. That could be, that could definitely be, things are disconnected now. That's definitely a possibility. That's probably the culprit there. All right, so here's Kira's, Hector's, so image issues. So now that you didn't, so this is going to be for everybody. So this is what happens when images get separated. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So, and this is good for everybody to see. And so now that you've sent me the DWG, but you didn't send me these, it can't find these images. So, I mean, it's okay for our purposes for today, really, because I have mine nearby. So mine are, so what you have to do, just in general for everybody to understand this, is they're X references, file references. And so I type XR and this box comes up and here's the drawing and here are all of the drawing. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't bring it back. I'm sorry. Okay. So now you can see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I was just flipping through them, but I wasn't really pointing out anything. Well, I was pointing out that many of them, that they all have missing images, just like the issue that you're experiencing there, Hector. So that's what we see there. Right. So the images are all missing. And that's because you didn't send me your images, which is fine for our purposes. So here's mine, and my images live in the same folder. So anyway, when I come here and I open this up, here's the drawing, and here are all of my files that are connected. And if I select one of them and I go down to save path or found at, so save path, and then there's, once I click on it, this annoys me. You can't see these three little dots until you click on it. Click on it, three dots, and then it will take you to where those, or it'll give you the opportunity to go and find those and reconnect them. So for instance, if I come to here, somebody else's, and so here is XREF, and right here, there are little warning signs right next to the two images because they can't be found. And I select on one and it says, not surprisingly, this file lives on Kira's desktop. So now the file is separated from the images. So if I threw this file into my folder, and if these images had the same name, then it should actually reconnect with them as long as they have the same name.
Oh, okay.
As long as we didn't change any names and we use the same files, Kira and I, that would work actually. So it's, you know, you just have to keep things together. But yes, you started on a separate file, so it's different. But that's a good lesson for everybody to understand why this happens.
Okay.
And so it's telling us right here that it's Kira's desktop case study. So it's looking for this on her desktop, obviously not connected to my desktop. All right, so let's flip through these quickly and look at the paper space issue. So, so here's model space for one. We'll jump into paper space, model space for another, into paper. So that's, so I just like to jump in here and double click with the wheel, and something wacky is going on. So something's up here. Some object is up here that has 22. This is Abdullah, this is you. So there's some objects up here in right field.
Yeah. That was, that's one of the things I've been working on the last bit of time, is that there's some stuff scattered all over model space.
Yeah.
It's a very good drawing, but it's, yeah, several miles away. So here's the Desert Visitor Center, and then several miles away is the new project.
Yeah, yeah, and something up here in the right. So you want to control all that, and then there's nodes.
There we go.
Yeah, so when we double click the wheel, and I could see that. I don't know if you could see it, but that thing's shooting up into right space. So, yeah, let's control the files, and everything should be on. So I don't know what's down here exactly now, but something's a little peculiar. Okay, but image and images. All right, so let's jump into paper space and see where these are landing. So this is a problem. All right, so whenever I jump into paper space, I should not have an open viewport like that. That means something wasn't taken care of. All right, you should never walk away from paper space with the viewport open like that. So I click on that and close it. All right, so that's one. So I'm just going to flip through them all, and I want to see them all. So this is mine. There's another, and so two pieces of paper. And again, here, whoever this is, Abdullah, looking in your direction. So again, we are in model space. Right? You can never walk away from that, the way it is. All right, so here we have three viewports. So I'm selecting them, making sure what I have, and seeing that the scales are varying. So we don't have them set here. Custom. So we got one at 3/16, and this is again, so this is you, Paula. We're looking. So we have one viewport that's custom, another that's custom, and one that's correct. So MA is for match properties. I'm going to select the middle viewport that's set to 3/16, and then I'll select the other two. So now they match. Now this isn't fitting on. So this portrait landscape is not working for this guy at 3/16. I don't think that's going to work so well. So let's just take a look around and see how other people are doing it. So this is the same, and I select them, and again, Nope, 3/16. How could that be? 2 viewports. How is one good at 3/16 and the other not? That's at 3/16. Whose is this? Kira's?
Paolo's, I think.
This one says Kira up here.
Sure. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's mine.
And this is
Oh, yeah,
fitting.
Kira.
This is fitting on the proper page.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the spell's wrong for the section. I don't know.
It's 11 by 17. All right, I'm going to have to keep moving. So your drawings are too small. It's at 2 feet. So you're about 33% too small. So everything has to grow. That's why yours is fitting on this piece of paper at this scale when others cannot fit it on. All right, so your whole building, everything needs to grow. So that just means, so where are we? This is yours. So as long as everything is turned on, we could just scale. We could select everybody, enter, and then just pick a point, and then it all grows out from there. So if it is, well, we should scale it differently. We should do it properly this way I would plug in like 1.33 and then it would all grow by 33%, but we should take care and do it. We could do this later. But yeah, that's an issue. Okay. All right. So let's get to the heart of the matter and how we're going to fit these things on. So let's see what we have here. So a viewport and standard scale is custom. So not to scale. All right. So it's not really worth composing all this stuff if it's not yet set to scale. Where are we? All right, so I'm going to take it from the top then. And let me just see how I did mine. Where am I? That's the lounge. So I did one over the other, and I did 3/16, which is also suspect, isn't it? Page setup manager. It's also very suspect. 3/16. So that makes me think that there's another issue with those that. Sec. Is this one scaled properly? That one's scaled well. Something.
Maybe it's the direction of the paper.
No. Shouldn't be. All right, so I think part of the moral of the story is that it should probably be a horizontal page. I think that would be kind of a path of least resistance is struggling with that. And the fact for this one in particular that we're not going to be aligning the section plus, we're not going to really align these two, right? Because this is where the section is cut, and that should always be shown. But sometimes, you know, when we have a plan, and then we have a section, kind of like such. And I think this is probably true for everybody else. And it's aligned like this, right? That's ideal, but we're not going to be able to do that here because we all agreed that cutting the sections this way was uninteresting and that showing the landscape is more interesting. So what I'm getting at, kind of long story long, is I would set this up, for everybody else, I would set this drawing up. I would set, for the other case studies, I would set this up like it's just going into Photoshop and like you want it to be on the board. So you would not want to, so you want to, as best you can, set this up with the board in mind in CAD. So what I'm getting at is the folks that are doing this lounge, I think it's better probably to take 2 pieces of paper and allow yourself the flexibility to move it later, because these things aren't going to be aligned because this section is cut in that direction. That's my long way of saying that. Does that make sense? All right. So the folks that are doing the lounge don't have to worry about aligning it one over the other. So therefore, let's just use 2 pieces of paper like Abdullah started, okay? And then we don't have to get overly concerned about the scales. So when I come here, this is not set to a scale. So this definitely has to be taken care of. You're there, hopefully, Abdullah, you're hearing this. So quarter inch, it was probably close to quarter inch. So that's what that should be, I would say. And then here, again, we select, and so we could just err on the side of making it a little too big because we have the luxury of and the other option that's available to everybody is also just to make a bigger piece of paper. Again, these aren't going to be aligned. If you prefer, this is for everybody, I'm going to just duplicate again. No, I'm going to modify. So I'm just right clicking. So everybody should know how to do this. Right clicking right on that tab and page setup manager. So it is on the page that I want to modify. So we could always make these things bigger. You know, in general, you don't want to just. Mind muting whoever that was. In general, you don't want to just make enormous files and overly big pages. So you know, you always want to make it a reasonable size. But what we could simply do is make this 11 by 17 now, 18 by 24. And then, so this all goes to say, this is important. The point actually is that in Photoshop, would you prefer to work with these on one sheet of, within one file, or in 2? In general, working with 1 is preferred, I would say, because then you could have all the same colors. The file would get bigger, the file size would get bigger, but you could have all your colors, all your imagery in one file. So that's up to you. But then when you go to InDesign, it's probably better that it's 2 files, because then you could move them around and they're not tied to each other. So you're going to enjoy more flexibility. And then here we could obviously just jump in, find this guy, get them to the same scale on the same piece of paper. So it's not pretty, but that's okay. But that's okay, because it's going to get, and it's probably not going to remain this way. When it gets on your board, it'll probably be cut in half and moved around, because it's not so important that it gets aligned. All right, so I think that's the best solution. So 2 11 by 17s or a larger 18 by 24 and quarter inch scale for this guy. In either case, I think works. All right, any other questions about the hut? Specific questions about it, hatching?
Are we drawing the landscape around the section?
No, I wouldn't do that. I think we could do a better job in Photoshop. if you want, if you want, you could put a dark line in. That's really, that's a great question, and it could be handled any number of ways. So this is something where I think we're going to leave it to you to kind of use your creativity for it. So one option would be to just put a line in. I would not put CAD bushes in. I think we could definitely do better than that. Yeah, don't put any of that stuff in. I mean, we do have some fair CAD trees, and you know, and once I say something can never look good, then you know you could prove me wrong. So this might be a case where you, I would start with less, try it in Photoshop, but you could always go back. So if you have this right printed exactly the way you know, just like we want things to come out of SketchUp, if we print them always consistently and always get the same size, then you could easily add something or subtract something in CAD and circle back to Photoshop. So paying attention to the size of the images and the printing is very important for that reason. And in general, it's going to be up to you to decide what parts you add where. So you could either have the floating box, you could add the grade line to provide a nice cutoff. I mean, you could also draw that grade line in Photoshop, right? So that's not a big deal. And then it's a question of how the image happens, you know, is it all Photoshop, very light backgrounds, or are you going with more of a technical drawing? So ultimately it's your choice is kind of the answer on that one.
Okay.
All right. Other questions about this project?
Yes, I have just one question about the CAD. You see the in the floor plan, the line in the bottom.
Down here?
The line in the bottom in the floor plan should be, I can clean it, but I draw it with 90 degrees because I didn't know how I can draw it with a nice way if it's unclean it.
Can you show us?
Yeah, just give me 1 second because I'm meeting you with my tablet, so I have to meet you by my laptop.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure what you're describing. So why don't you work on that and we'll swing back. I think you have to show it to me though. Any other questions on the lounge?
Yes.
What was the scale that you said you wanted it in? Is it?
I said quarter inch. Quarter inch worked well for those, for either single page or when I bumped it up to 18 by 24. Quarter inch also worked there. So I would give, again, being that these aren't going to be aligned perfectly and you have more flexibility in InDesign, I would do it as 2 pieces or one bigger one, and you'll have flexibility to move them around later. There's 2 of you, Abdullah.
Yeah, because I want just to show you my CAD because that's why I connected with my laptop.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I'm talking about this line. This line should be uncleaned, but when I draw it when I draw it uncleaned, it doesn't look nice. For example, like this.
What's the problem?
There seems to be a slight
So,
angle.
how it looks?
It's not quite square.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that
So
line
that's why
looks good.
I draw.
Is that an X line? Why does that look crooked?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, if you draw it,
The red line is crooked.
right, but he's trying to replicate the, as close as he can, the drawing below, which is a little funky when it comes into that corner.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't worry about the drawing below. Is that what you're referring to, Abdullah?
yes, yes. Because I remember when I was in school in my country, my teachers, they always refuse this kind of line.
They always did what?
They refuse them. They don't want to see a line like this.
A crooked line, yeah. I would, well, yeah, I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't have that line either. Yeah, but I wouldn't, yeah. As long as your lines are straight, that's all that matters. That's what matters more. We can't really be overly concerned about the scan that's below.
So he should get rid of the red line and keep the blue line.
Yeah, yeah, the blue line looks good. The red line looks wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem, that the blue line doesn't match with the picture, you know, because this angle shouldn't be 90 degrees, you know, in the picture.
Yeah, it's off by a few like minor inches or something.
Like this one.
I think they should be 90 degrees.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, one of these things, having gone over the drawings, is you may have to take that latitude to be a little more correct than the drawing you
Yeah.
are working off of. And so I would use your architectural license of sorts and square that off. So make that genuinely 90 degree.
Yeah.
And it's got a little tiny triangle of, it looks like deck where it comes in because the line above is slightly different.
All right.
So yeah, so that's correct.
Okay. So I keep it like this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
thank
Yeah. You can't because they're JPEGs. You can't. We're kind of making guesses about things, but I'm sure that's a 90-degree angle. And
Right.
if it leaves the drawing below, do what you think is best, the way that it should be in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. You can stop sharing. Yeah. All right. Other questions about the lounge? So I don't think we should do that hatch. If
The
you
floor
did anybody get into the hatching of the floor?
someday.
Some did.
It's kind of messy.
That'd be really hard. Oh, we were going to talk about line weights. Okay, here. Let's do it. So Kira's, yeah.
Wait, I have one more question. So are we doing just the plan and the section, or do you want all three drawings? Because you said
No, yeah, there will be a third drawing, but these two should be wrapped up 100%.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
And for this, the site plan.
yeah, for this Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let's look at this. So let's go to the 1/4 inch version here. Quarter scale. So viewport at 1/4 scale, correct. We don't have hatches here. Let's go somewhere else. So let us go. All right, so we'll stay here and we'll zoom in a bit. So to be at the same scale. All right. So this is Kira's. So let's see what we could do with the hatch and the line weights. So
We
on the
can't see
surface-
your screen.
oh, thank you. Yeah, we got it. Okay, can you see now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here's Kira's. So I just bumped this up to 1/4 inch scale because I think that's where you want to be. So either get a bigger piece of paper or use 2 pieces. So we got a dark hatch here. I'm just going to send it to the back so that I could see. So I see some crooked lines here. So I can see the red. So on the surface, everything looks fine. So let's just take a look. So check our LT scale. It's set at 13. It should either be 7. Well, if we go to 1/4 scale, the LT goes to
48.
48. And what did we say we were at? 72 was the first one.
At 3/16. Right?
36. Yeah, we never talked about an LT scale, did we? Or we
We
did?
haven't really talked about LT scale yet. No.
I thought I had some. That's strange. Well, so it is. So for 1/4 scale, it's 48. For 3/16, it is 36, right? Yeah. All right. So this LT scale at 13 is suspect, but we'll talk about dash lines on the next project. We'll get into that one. So LT scale 1, we don't see any dash lines right now. So Control P to print. PDF good, monochrome good, paper all good. Good. Preview. So how does it look? So we can see the walls nice and dark. I see a dark line running here and here and here. I see those dark lines. I see a dark line over here near that bed. Otherwise, everything looks kind of the same to me. So let's take a look at the properties. So this is what everybody should be doing, and we'll do it quickly for all of them. So magenta. So I will select the line. I will look up top to make sure that it is on. All my zoom controls come up. So I will select the line. I will look up here to make sure it's on the layer that I expect it to be on, and then that it's on a line weight that I expect to be. So exterior walls. So that was red. Where's exterior walls? Okay. Why are we creating new layers, Kira? So now we have exterior walls at 0.53.
I did the same thing Hector did. I
Okay.
started in a separate.
All right. Well, it's close. So that's our dark medium, which is near 0.5. This is light medium. All right. So this is just adding confusion to confusion here.
No, I'm sorry.
No, well, I mean, you have to live with it. It's me. It's not great for me to demonstrate with this one, probably. So I'm not going to. Yeah. Because otherwise I'd have to translate. Well, no, actually, I'll just move some things quickly. That's fine. So here, we'll look at this corner. Red. So we have this corner. I will put on the dark medium layer. So my impression was that those were looking a little flat. And I was wondering how that happened. So I think that explains. So I'm moving everybody up to these layers up here. So it's going dark, medium, medium, and light. And those layers now, they might still be flat, but so here we go. So 0.5, 0.2, and 0.09. So they're on the soft side. I don't know. That might have came right out of the desert shelter, where we really I think we really toned down the layers quite a bit. So this is on the light layer. All right. So then We could also just turn layers off quickly to get them out of our way. So let's grab this stuff, put it on the medium layer. All right, I think that should do. And these guys want to be on the medium layer as well. And light layer back on. All right, so we're just looking at the top right of that guy. One more time to print. What happened? Cancel. Print. So I changed the size. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I think I get a sense as to what you're talking about with the SketchUp models, that when you start demonstrating on somebody else's, it becomes
Yes.
potentially problematic. Why doesn't that want to go? 18 by 24. Give me 1 second. Portrait. Cancel. Good. All right, here we go. I thought I made this bigger. That's confusing me. All right, it is the correct size. That's all that matters. The paper's all goofy now, but the viewport is the correct size. So we're judging it correctly. All right. So, long story short, the hatches look good. The furniture looks good. So it's too flat. So this looks too flat. The hatch looks good. Your layers are definitely too flat. See that? So when we come over here, so flat meaning they're too close together, and we might have spread them out a little bit, or we might have brought them together. Like typically, the line weights, there's more variety in it when I usually start my templates. And I think on the desert shelter or desert visitor center, we brought them closer together, which leads to the flatness. So this is a step in the right direction, but there's still some room for improvement. All right, so hopefully everybody's following that. And then we could just jump back into layer properties, which is here somewhere. Come on, there we go. So dark medium. So yes, these are too close together. So 0.5 is, so this is for everybody, because this is, you probably are all starting on the same I'm sure you should be starting on the same template. So I think red is probably going to be too light and should probably be moved up to 0.7 or 0.8. These walls are hatched, so that let's turn those off and get a better sense. But yeah, 0.2 is too little. So I'm going to essentially double all of these. Yeah, let's start with that. Let's start with doubling them all. And then one more time. This is comic. How did that? Better. So you can see the difference between the windows, right? So the glazing is at least twice as dark. Everything's twice as dark there than it is there. I think the furniture looks good. Maybe a notch on the dark side. These lines have to be looked at. Kira, why they're coming out so dark. That's fine, and those have to be repaired.
And also those mullions for the glass wall, those need to be on the a heavy line weight.
Yeah, these little guys, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's close. I mean, maybe the furniture is a little on the dark side.
If we used your template, the one that you originally gave us, we still have to adjust the line weights or?
Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying is so this is, so no, that's hectares. We don't want to do that. Is this the original, Abdullah? Yes, it looks like it is.
Yeah.
So red is, yes, yeah, this says, this is all light. Yes, this must have been where the desert piece ended. So this is at 0.5. So yes, I would double all of these. Maybe double's too much for medium, but nearly double. That's what I just did. Yes. So let's take a quick look at how Abdullah's is looking. All right. Well, we know how it's going to look. So let me just change the, well, let's look first and then we can change it one more time. So all good. Yeah, so this is without the hatch. But again, besides the walls, everything, I mean, the mullions are obviously, and take a look at that, Abdullah, you got some stray lines floating in there. Besides the obviously dark walls and the floating mullions, everything is really flat, very similar. So let's just quickly adjust and take one more look. And then we'll take a break and look at the other two projects. So dark red from 0.5 to 0.9, a little less than half. Magenta from 0.3 to 0.5, a little less than half. And green, 0.3 to just do 0.20, let's just say. Well, I could see the mullion better. These have gone very dark, obviously. I think that's only all they're going to look like. Or all right, so the furniture is on too light of a layer, right? I think so. I think most of this stuff is on too light. So, and this is also just a good lesson. Not that I want to explode all of that. So a good lesson, this is definitely a good lesson for everybody. One way to do this, like, because I think this is all too light, the furniture, or it's all going to go a little too dark. You're going to be stuck between the two. It's all kind of flat right now. Everything's the same. Everything inside the room is the same. So one way to fix that, and being that you have such little amount of furniture, we could actually just explode these things. And so now they should all be, so we could select them all, put them all on the 0 layer. So what we could do, this is just a good, helpful little tip that's worth knowing. So I'm going to get all the insides. So just like when we do elevations, all the interior parts of the furniture. And I could even, I could get these lines, even though these things aren't connected, I could still do that. So this is all going to be the light lines. And it's worth doing this. It's worth having time rather than I think when you put in blocks that have as many lines, especially one that has like a picnic table wood grain to it, you're kind of setting yourself up to have to take a little more care, I would say. So I'm going to move all those to the light lines. So this is good to know. And then I should put them all back down as blocks essentially. But one option I could do is grab it all, like I could do, I could just copy it all and make it one big block. That's kind of the lazy quick approach. So there's the whole block. And I could just move this out of the way and treat it like a block. And I'll show you option number 2 quickly. So that's the pieces. That's the block. And this is just good to know. So this entire block could go on the medium layer. And now the blue lines are embedded in the block and should print lighter. So that's one way to do it. Another way, again, ideally they're all their own blocks. That would be the non-lazy way to do it. But I could also just explode them, change those, turn that light layer off, and then move all these guys to the medium layer. This is not the wise way to do it, because now I have tables that are in numerous pieces. And if I had to move them, pieces could get left behind. But if I knew I weren't getting back to this and it was the very final presentation and are kind of up against the time clock and I had to make quick changes, I might do that. But if I'm not done drafting, I certainly would not do that. If things are still getting moved around, it's a different story.
And people did notice David, what David did was he put the blocks on layer 0, exploded them, and then on layer 0. And then everything that is in a block that's on layer 0 will take on the characteristic of the layer they're placed on when you insert the block, if that's clear or not. But that's a way, particularly within a block, to get some differentiation of line weights.
Yeah, maybe there's too much differentiation, but I think it's not as
Better.
it's not as flat. That's you have to get things to move up and down a little bit. All right, questions about it?
I don't have like a question, but I would like you to see mine because I thought that the site plans was due today, so I kind of did it. So I want to know if I did good job or I have to change
Sure,
something.
we could look at it. But let's take a break.
Taking a break, yeah.
Yeah, so 10 minutes, 10 after, and we'll swing back and go through the other two a little more quickly.
Okay.
All right. Great, thank you. So I just want to put Kira's back on. I didn't really talk about, and I wanted to ask Michael. So what do you think about the hatch? I mean, after we fine tune the line weights a little bit, you can't when this goes into Photoshop, you can't put anything behind that hatch. You can't put a color back there. So actually, hold on, I'm not sharing it right now. Can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so so after we fine tune the line weights, do you think they should do hatches in CAD, or so? I mean, you're stuck. This is it, Kira. When you put the hatch in, there's no otherwise you would be doing the magic wand inside every single floorboard to cut it out so that you could drop a color behind it. That doesn't really make sense. So this is the look, I think. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Yeah, it's pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think they should do it in Photoshop? Do something in Photoshop instead?
I think the effect may be more pleasing in Photoshop. Can do it.
Yeah. If it were maybe not 1,000 lines, but we should try our hand at Photoshop, I think. Yeah. You agree, Michael? That's what we should do for the floor? Yeah, all right. So for the floor, let's do Photoshop. Maybe if there's an outside deck or something that's treated differently, that's not the case in this building. Or tile floors, perhaps. You know, a tile floor could be easier. You know, in which case this would be a threshold. And then we would,
Yeah, I would kind of go with the image, which really doesn't get into the detail of that floor, that being a tile floor.
this one in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, my point was that maybe modest amount of hatches at certain places could be a good thing, but this floor is too much. So, all right. So we agree on that. We'll shut that down. And then, okay, so for the house.
yard house.
Yeah, so Elaine is the only one I have on my list. Who else is working on this?
Wait, Professor. You said you want you was going to review the site plan for the Tepoztlan, or you want to do it after class?
Is it here yours? Let me.
Back to the lodge, the lounge.
Yeah, this is yours, Paula? Or would you want to just, did you want to look at yours or you just wanted to look at the site plan?
No, I want to look at mine because I did the site plan, but I don't know if I did a good job or I have to fix anything. I just want like.
But it's not here. It's not in this file, is it?
Yeah, we have the roof plan, but no, so there's the beginnings in the upper right corner where we see the roof.
Oh, but in the image it says site plan on that one.
Yeah, well, roof plan, site plan, that might be the same thing, but you have to submit, you know, a PDF or submit this before class begins. You know what I mean?
I had a problem and I fixed it with Michael before the class.
Well, print a PDF and send it to us or something, and we can look at it afterwards.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you have to get us you have to get us the material so we could see it. I mean, unless we're troubleshooting a CAD issue, we need to see PDFs preferably before we download everything. Yeah, so that's what I would say about that. All right, so how do we turn off these? Well, it doesn't matter. This is fine. This is on display line weights, right?
Yes, it is. So yeah, you want to turn it off if you wish.
How do I turn that off to you?
There with the little lines, it's right next to the scale, guys. Yeah, that will turn line weight display off.
Ah, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a good look at this one because we are very close. This is Lelani. So are you there, Lelani?
Lenny?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
All right.
So you can see the screen. So
Yes.
then you're ready to print a PDF, I'm sure. So this all looks good.
I was having trouble with my dashed lines, and I didn't know if the LT scale was the reason behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Sure. Let's talk about that quickly. So we have 3 viewports all set at 1/8 inch scale. Okay. So 1/8 inch scale means we need an LT scale of 96. So it is set at 1 now, so let's set it at 96. And what do we have to look at? This guy. So that looked about right that's what I saw in Paperspace, just about, which looks too big.
Mm-hmm.
So we come over here, after we select it, we go to the line type scale. And I think we could probably cut this guy in half, or we could just not even have this going through the drawing. I think that might be the better option. Yeah, looks like you're actually making space for this over here almost, and that's this guy too. So let's quickly let's pick these guys up. They don't need to be so crunched. Yeah, I'm really happy you got all the pieces of the puzzle present. And then so these are our pieces of paper, right? These guys.
Yes.
So let's not touch them. And I could give this file back to you if you haven't done any work, or you could just do the same as I'm doing. So we'll pick up all three pieces. They should be aligned nicely. And I think I'm gonna center them just about. So moving them, I'm gonna turn on the ortho. I'm gonna center them right inside those arrows. And I'd rather deal with these later. Or I just wouldn't cramp the whole paper. We could cut these up and add them, you know, when it gets to Photoshop or somewhere, or InDesign. Yeah, I mean, usually I don't like to say that, but.
And unfortunately for this project, we don't know where north is.
Oh, really? All right.
Couldn't find any documentation on.
I would just erase it. So this looks like I left behind a hatch here. Somehow I didn't pick up this hatch. Well, if there's no north arrow, this guy might, then maybe he will just squeeze in right down here. Okay. So then, yes. So then I would just, so put in my handy X lines right there. And then, so I will offset, I want to cut this guy back from about here to here so that my X line comes in. My X line comes in. I could trim this guy. This is what annoys me, this. I'm not used to this yet. So all those go away. And then we have, yeah, so I don't think that, and you could even just get away with one arrow. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even hatch it. I appreciate the thoroughness, and I appreciate the opportunity to be picky. So I think that's kind of enough. All right, and then let's look at our layers. Layer properties, where are you? So yes, these are all set very low. So we'll take a look at how they're set. Otherwise, so our dashed lines, that's what we were talking about, weren't we? So they're the dashed lines, and these are set to 0.5, probably too big. Now, judging by my arrow, let's do 0.3. Yeah, that could be. These doors are really small, maybe. So match properties. And then I'll do the same for the doors. And the doors might be even a little smaller yet. Maybe get one more. So that's 0.3. Then we'll do 0.2. And then I get one more dash. Match properties. Dashed. But yeah, it could be the same or it could be different. I don't know. I don't know if there's a science, but and this is all on the ground. And do we not see the dash line over here?
I guess there should be a dash line. There is an overhead.
Yeah. So I would cheat. So I just moved him there. So we should look at the pictures and get a sense, if we can, how does the overhang come over the concrete? My guess is it does, but Eleni, you're going to be the expert on this building, so you'll look it up. But then I would extend them so wherever this thing goes, all the way front to back. But you would never, or I would never. I would cheat and just, even if they're lined up on top of each other, I put them a little bit off. So we hope to see that. We hope to see that in the, we need to see that really. Actually, this is where I'd want to put my text. So still a bad place. All right, we'll put it up here and we'll move it later. Or maybe down here. Okay, let's take a look. So that tidied some things up, but not the line weights. I didn't do anything to the line weights. So, and I didn't do my LT scale correctly. So let's do that. LT from 96 to 1. And yes, if you submit PDFs that don't have your line weights right, we're going to get minus points. So it's going to have to happen. So the dashed lines look pretty good. I could see the difference between those two lines. I could see all the nice dark walls. I missed a door right there. That's not dashed. That table makes this look like a pretty, either that table is small and that couch is big. Maybe
Yeah,
that
something
table,
weird.
that's like a kid's table or something. That's a big couch. I was going to say all of a sudden this dining room feels big, but I think that table's undersized, judging by the size of the door. Unless it's an oversized door, right? But typically our dining room tables are wider than our doors. All right, but otherwise line weights all look flat, right? I don't see anything. Well, here, all right, I see a little difference here. This guy's a little darker, but otherwise all pretty flat. So let's check out the kids' table. So I missed, so LT scale back to 96. Match properties for this guy. Suspicious table is 30 inches. That's not as bad as it sounds. It's small. That's 30 in. Oh, this is a small door. That's just a 30-inch door. This has to be bigger though, right, Michael?
I'd say at least 3 feet.
Yeah. So let's line 36 inches. So that's not even getting that much bigger. Scale. Select it all except that line. Base point R for reference. 1, 2, 3. Really close to that. I guess that's. And a big couch. I think you got a big
Maybe
old,
the couch is too large.
yeah, 70 inches. It's a big recliner. Scale. So everything goes to the center, 0.9 or 0.95.
I'm just looking at some of the photos on this, and I think they cheated a little bit that they didn't leave enough space for a really properly sized dining room table.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like an awkward space. All right, but I'm going to move on shortly. So let's go to the layer properties. Layer properties, where are you? And let us put red from 0.5 up to 0.8. Okay. Magenta. We'll go from 0.2 to 0.4. Green will go to 0.25. All right, Lelani, any questions before we move on from yours? This is all for you. So LT scale, preview. So the door is a little getting lost in the wall a little bit. So the medium, yeah, they look all right. All the doors are getting lost in the walls. They're too close. But otherwise, I like the dark around the island and then the lighter details inside. This could lighten up a little bit. That's just on the ground. Over here, we got a stray dark line, right? This should be dark. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. I think the walls, I think the doors have to be freed up and move in about 2 inches. Dark, light. Furniture looks better. I think these hatches could be lighter, these gates. And we talked about this issue, which we said might be correct, but was a little odd. All right, Lelani, any questions? Are you there?
Yeah, it's okay. So can we go back to the original drawing underneath that one? For the section.
Let me see if
Yeah.
I have it in mind.
Because the stairs had like a line that looks like it cuts through the door, but then it has like small little squares that were solid. I didn't know what that was representing, either like the railings above or it was something else.
Which plan or section?
The section of the stairs.
Here?
Yeah, like right against the upper door.
Here?
Is that supposed to be the railing?
Yeah, that's the railing coming at us that's been cut.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
Good question. Yeah, so right here,
Mm-hmm.
here and here or so, roughly, in line.
Right.
Yeah, so this stuff's coming out too dark. That was dark. And so we need a little more variety in here. Treat this,
Right.
how did you do those windows?
And what's happening around that downstairs door?
Oh, this, yeah, this,
That shouldn't be hatched like that. That's why it's looking
Oh.
so. Yeah, it shouldn't be hatched.
Okay.
I was wondering what was going on in the other. But
runaway hatch, yeah. These I think would do better, lighter.
yeah, it should be on the lightest layer.
And this is, that's hatched, that might be hatched, yeah. That's the roof. Yeah, but this for everybody, little details and trim out, right? You don't see that glass through there, so that gets trimmed out. These things probably want to be green or whatever color this guy is, perhaps. So when you get so many lines that are close together, you have to start differentiating them and making some judgment calls. You typically don't want all the same lines stacked up on top of each other. You know, you might try these darker.
Okay. To get the loadings in there so it doesn't. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? I don't know what just happened there, but okay, we'll move on. That one's coming along nicely. It's very close. All right, final group is here. And we are talking about the hut. So Jonathan, Tao, Romina, Etiana.
And also Essa.
Essa. I don't think I have one from him.
No, we don't.
Okay. All right, so questions? Questions about the hut? So we got a big piece of paper. Is this the 11 by 17? So if it, so, all right, so let's actually talk about this one. Yeah, so let's set this one up. So the way I set it up, I believe would have been stacked. I would have aimed for. See if I'm lying. So hut. No, I went side by side. All right. So, so this, that looks neat enough. If you're down this road, that's okay. If you're not yet down that road, let's consider stacking these. So this one was following suit. Following suit. And all right, so most of you are following suit, which makes sense. But let's let me just start from wherever we are here. Let's just see. So these are set at 3/16. Let's just put it on a bigger piece of paper and throw out another option then, which is easy enough. With 2 viewports for good practice and a section coming here from Romina. Oh, so we could talk a bit about this too.
Yeah.
This section probably wants to be a little bit, probably a bigger scale would be my guess, judging by the amount of lines. And typically in life, we zoom in as we provide more detail. We have to zoom in and things have to get bigger typically. Yeah, so let's just take a look and we'll just do a bigger piece of, well, I'd probably put the section on a different piece so that I could move it freely when I get to
I think this one, if it's mine, it's already in a bigger paper.
Yeah, it looks like it, yes.
Yeah.
So yes, Romina and I were talking and she was struggling to get this on by 11 by 17. It was like one little stair was getting chopped off. So we said, let's just get a bigger piece of paper. So we have 2 viewports and so you've been doing everything to 3/16, all your
Yeah, whatever I have so far, I did 3/16.
Yeah, so that's fine. So if she's been paying attention to her the scale of her dashed lines, then keep it at 3/16. It's once you get the graphic scale in there, and then it's not worth changing that all at the last minute. So this is fine. What we could do is, so now we have so we came down here just the same.
The section and the side plan, I didn't pay too much attention. I haven't fixed the line weights yet.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
So page setup manager, and then we went to modify, and we turned this to an 18 by 24.
Mm-hmm.
So let's stack these. So I'll bring in our viewports pretty tight. And we'll live with the 3/16, which is fine. Okay, we'll pick him up. And then just like we were in
What was worrying me a little bit is that the walls line up perfectly between all the plans that I did, but then when I try to do like the columns that they're on the side with the side plan and the other one, they're just a lot off. So
okay, I'm not going to get crazy about that now.
Okay.
If that's what you're worried about.
Like the walls line up, but the other stuff, like they don't.
I wasn't going to go that far. If you didn't tell me, I probably wouldn't have even discovered.
Okay. Mess that up.
That at this point, I would say that ship has set sail.
Okay.
I mean, if it's really causing problems and you want to go over it, we could do it later, but, all right, so we have an elevation above the plan, and then we have this, so that's great. So we will show the section at a bigger scale because it has more detail and we need
I
to.
have both the north and the south plan I did, because I did the top one originally and then we asked for the other one, so I did the other one.
All right, well, for our lessons, we'll set it up. We'll take this guy at the top. So I
Okay.
just wanted to get the lay of the land. So the 2 viewports are set at the same scale, and we copied one and brought it down, and my drawing is up top. So I will double click inside, press with the wheel, start coming down, hold shift, and now that should be perfectly aligned. PS for paper space. So that's 1 scale. And then if that's 3/16, so you have to keep in mind, so half looks like it's going to be too big, 3/8. Let's see what that looks like. That might do. So you're keeping in mind the 24 by 36 board. And if you're so interested, you could, of course, make it, you could make the board that size now. We typically want things handed in kind of a neat and tidy fashion, but we're kind of making some exceptions to the rule. I wouldn't hand in a 24 by 36 board here. That's overkill, but for your own purposes, and you should know how to do this, we come here again, we modify, and we could just go to 24 by 36, Arc D. And while we don't want you handing in oversized boards coming right out of CAD or going into Photoshop with enormous boards, that's all doesn't make any sense. Starting to think about the size of the board and roughly the size of the images that you're printing, if this helps, that could be a good thing, just to take a look at it. All right, so those are lined up and that's at a bigger scale. Good.
Should I put the detail, I guess, in a separate M view, right? And I just adjust the scale, like.
Well, that's kind of, yeah, so that's where I was going. I think I would do these differently in Photoshop. And Michael, you could let me know what you think, but I think this would be one file.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, would you do this all? Because like on one hand, when you get to InDesign, you got to keep in mind that this is its own thing to be moved around on the board.
Right.
These two things are going to live together like that. That's the best decision for them.
And there's going to be another elevation, or there is another elevation, right? Because that's the north elevation down there.
I think that's the south.
That looks like the
That's
south.
the-
The south
yeah.
has more glass on it. Yeah, that's the south elevation down
Mhm.
This is the front door.
the front
Yeah.
door. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
This
the-
one I already had done it before we talked about the north elevation, so it's just there, I guess.
Oh, I'd say include it.
Okay.
And is there going to be an east or west, or no? We're just doing north and south.
No. Although it would be, there are good east and west elevations, but
Yeah, they're really nice.
I looked at those. I might do them if I finish up everything here with the line weights and stuff. I'll just do those just to have them.
It could look like a really nice group if it were.
They were simple enough, I think, so should be.
Yeah.
If you had one there and then you had the other guy coming here.
Okay.
So my bigger point is we lay out what we can in CAD. Like that's a nice arrangement in CAD. It might or might not work in the board.
Mhm.
So you're walking us around the building. But as much as you could do, so how many files would you take into Photoshop, Michael? That's where I was getting at.
I would really like just to work with one file if I could.
One
That's
big
awesome.
file, all right.
One big file. We can always rearrange things in InDesign. I mean, it's a little bit awkward, but if we don't like the layout of the board, things are too close together or too far apart, things like that, that can be adjusted by doing multiple copies of the image in InDesign.
Mhm.
So if the page is bigger, you can fit more things on it, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to make files that are enormous, and remember that SketchUp and Photoshop are coming in too. But this gives you a good
I mean, you
sense.
can always make copies of it if you have it and just use the ones that you want in design or
Yeah,
I guess, right? Okay.
it's not an issue really of copies. There'll be plenty of copies.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael is also sharing his preference for liking to see all this happening in one big file. I might be tempted to work in two different files myself. I don't know why, and I can't think of any benefit of it. If anything, it does make sense to have it all in one file.
Should I kind of do like a bigger page where it has everything in one, and then do like a copy of it that has in a smaller paper, or?
No, just one file at 300 is all you need.
Okay.
Yeah, my point was that these should definitely be in a file together. And then Michael shared that he would work with everything in a file. I might work with these in two different files. I don't know why.
I would also agree. I would say that the section could exist independently. Think about how it might exist on your board, where it really could be separate from the other drawings.
Okay, so I guess then we'll do one paper for plan and the side plan, the section, I guess, or no? So the side plan and the plan, they're in one thing.
Yeah, well, you're not doing, just to clarify, for this, you're not doing a site plan. The site plan is very uninformative. So your mission is the extra drawing is the south elevation, which you've already got started.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to do the side elevations, the east and west elevations,
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome to do those.
Okay.
But the site plan doesn't. All it tells us is this is sitting on a hilltop, a shallow, a gentle curve. It doesn't. So.
So I should set it up how we have it right now, right? And I guess
you don't know. It's killing you that we're not answering the question for you. It's the border. The bottom line is if it's
don't need to be together. Whatever I want to do with the other ones.
Yeah. This guy could be off to the side, or he could be in a different file.
Okay.
I wouldn't make bigger sheets of paper than you need. This is 18 by 24.
Okay.
So
I
you
have
got
18 by 24 now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and if you get into Photoshop and it's annoying you that it's so big, then you could do a save as, and it could become two files.
Okay.
Everything has to be 300 DPI, and it has to be, when it ends up on that 24 by 36 board, you can't push it down anymore. I mean, you can't push it up. You can't make it bigger. You can push it down. So if it's 11 by 17, it should definitely take up the whole thing. If you bump up the paper to 18 by 24, you have more elbow room. So again, we're not giving you the templates and saying make it look exactly like this, but as long as you have a plan and it makes sense that as we get into details, the scale gets bigger. That's what needs to happen. There's no reason to draw all these extra lines if you're not going to zoom in and show it to us at a better scale. And then if you were to do this little detail, and that's what the purpose of that dashed line is telling us that you are going to do that. I wouldn't do that there though. But if you are going to do that, then that detail could be here.
Yeah. And does it matter what scale is it on, or as long as you can see it clear? Because I already have done the detail underneath, so how should I put it on the paper?
The scale's not really going to matter because we're not going to get through this with the scale. I mean, Michael and I could talk about that more.
Okay. So as long as it's clear, I guess you can see what's going on.
Yeah, we could discuss this. I mean, right now there's not too much to it.
Okay. This is just a call right now, but they're just there's not that much more to it than we can see in the overall section.
Yeah.
It's got just, it doesn't really add much information, it just shows the pins going,
Yeah.
through. So my own inclination would be, maybe we don't
Okay.
see that. I think the overall section with the right line weights will be a really beautiful drawing,
Okay.
because it helps to capture how this is built. I mean, that really shows us a lot about the character of the structure, probably more so than any other single drawing. The section is really informative.
Okay. And what about the hatches? I haven't done the hatches yet.
Probably wouldn't. Let's go back. I don't know, unless Michael, you think otherwise. I mean, we could do this in Photoshop.
Yeah.
You think we should try it?
What about on the, I think this section, it has like a hatch underneath that it shows like the material that's.
No,
No?
I don't think so.
No, don't go that far.
No,
Okay.
it's uglier than the standard Earth.
So just the solid hatch on the walls and that's about it, technically.
Let's just emphasize the structure. So it looks like
It had a lot of different hatches. I wasn't sure if I was,
Don't
you
don't
know.
don't do any of those little guys.
Okay.
No. What do you think? What do you think about this hatch, or should we go to Photoshop?
I think that should be done lightly.
Okay. So this guy. All right, that's for everybody for the hut. The siding could be done lightly, and this too, the flooring lightly.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Bless you.
There'd be no adding color afterwards, so. Unless we could go right to PNGs or no? Yeah, PNGs
we could.
from a PDF to a PNG, and then it'll be transparent.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
could try that.
I don't know. I think that boardwalk, particularly the way it extends from interior to exterior, is another part of the character of this project.
Yeah. So
The way
it might
it shoots right through the building.
be worthwhile doing to emphasize
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just keep it light, I guess.
Keep it very light.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's try it, Romina, with
Okay, I'll try it. No problem.
whoever's first. We'll make a PNG out of it, and we'll
Okay.
see if we can put something behind it. I'll do.
And the one on the side plan, right? That hatch as well on the section. I keep.
light.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So that pertains to everybody there.
You have those hatched in mind if you want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I have a question too. I just remembered on my plan where I have the doors on the top part. I kind of like created a little hinge and then attached the door, because if I wouldn't do that, you wouldn't see the door at all. It would be like too close to the wall. On top, on the others, on the top part.
I'll go back. I want to do the hatch.
Okay.
I think it looks good.
Yeah, it's not that busy, I think. The furniture, I just made them myself because they were very simple. I didn't think I should just, and I made them into blocks.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Michael? They should do it here?
I think in this one, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the problem with the other one, the lounge, was it was a super dense pattern that, was going to really take over. And this, I think,
Yeah. This looks good. So there's that might be the open shower.
Mhm.
So I think there should be more difference between the glazing and the frame.
Mhm.
And
I didn't do the like the line weights much because I was trying to just have everything done.
this
So-
is Jonathan's.
Okay,
Are you aware?
it's the same.
Oh,
I didn't
all
know.
right. Just need-
yeah, they both have a really heavy line weight at the edge
Oh,
of the
okay.
back.
All right.
Okay.
Just so you know, so the frame should be lighter, and this light this line should be lighter as well a notch, I think. I don't think, being that it's on the ground, it shouldn't run directly into that post. So slightly lighter on that. Otherwise, the furniture looks good, I think. The dash lines look good.
Yeah, this looks very good graphically, I think.
Let's just take a look at those two things. So yeah, so you can see how close everybody is. So red is at, right, so maybe I'm going overboard doubling it. Let's move it up a little bit, but we need more distance between the green and the magenta, 0.25 and 30. So I'm gonna move the medium up to 0.4, and I'll keep that, the light where it is. Okay, let's see if that helped or hurt or what. Why does that keep happening?
Better?
A little bit, yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe there could be a little more space between them. And then whatever this situation is, that has to change. Let me just take one more look. So this is red. Yeah, so this red should be out here. And I'd make that magenta. This might be light as well, or this, yeah, maybe some things want to move up a little bit, actually. Again, maybe these could come up a notch, the surrounds for some of this furniture. And then this pedestal that the fireplace sits on might come up a notch. Hopefully, I'm pushing it in the right direction. And then I'm going to move magenta up a little bit more just to get a little bit more difference between the light and the medium. Too much?
Yeah.
Like too much of everything, though. I think of it, I think it looks a little better differentiated, but I think the dark got a little too dark.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the windows for the line weights, shouldn't the inside line weight be lighter than the outside?
No, the inside's
No?
the inside's
Okay.
glass.
See, because I thought it was the other way, so.
The inside's the glass and the outside is the frame. So take everybody down a notch. Why did this not change? Huh. All right, let's see. Closer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I like a little differentiation in the furniture. And these windows look better to me.
Yeah.
And I think this is important as being a notch darker than the hatch.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah, and be consistent so the edge of the bed goes to that heavier. The rest of what the rest of the furniture is doing.
Yeah. So that should be darker. Perhaps some of this could be darker than two. This
Yeah,
might
it's
be
like built-in desk kind of.
Yeah, not the interior lines, but the exterior lines, basically. Especially on a hatch, I think it's important to give it a little more oomph. And same with the door. Maybe the door could come out a little bit. And this looks a little dark.
On the doors, should we draw them the way that Jonathan has them? Because when you had showed them to us, it was just like a line. Should we just do it like that?
It depends if it looks, if it looks good, if it looks good, it is good. You know, there are different styles, so I don't want to just always say it has to be this style. A lot depends on the scale. If it shows up nicely as two lines, then I do it.
Okay, so it
you know,
depends on how it looks like. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one door could be nice, one line could be nice.
I think though with these, typically we're working at a larger scale than we were with the first project. And my own preference would be to show a door like this with a thickness.
Okay.
As long as it, and you know, it's still, you know, can be seen as two lines.
Okay.
I'll look at, all right, let me just do 5 more minutes. Any other questions about this? Otherwise, I'll look at the set. Well, the elevations due next. This is Romina's we looked at. That's mine. Tatiana, any questions? Jonathan, we looked at. Tao, questions?
No questions. Is it good though?
Let's take a look.
Is
Because
it good now?
I overall, Tao, I thought your drawings were really good and complete. And so they were the ones that I started to import into SketchUp.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, that's a good answer. Yeah, so we could dig back into line weights and sections. I'm gonna stop in 3 minutes and let Michael say a few words about SketchUp and wind down the CAD. But we also might find ourselves fighting now with the layers, right? If we make them look great for the floor plan, it might be hard to make them look great. The same layers look good here because things are so much closer. And the same line weights have to serve. So you might be creating additional layers for your sections. Or so basically your sections probably are not going to have the detailed section, not the building section like this. When we start getting into here, you're probably not going to have red lines, maybe, but probably not. So the more detail you get, think of it as maybe for the section, maybe the medium is the darkest. And then you're going to move all the way down into an extra light. Just because.
I did my layer on the magenta. I had to, the section, because you couldn't see anything on the red layer.
Yeah.
So I just.
But remember, we're going to try to do the section at a bigger scale. So I think that all of this, the good things, if you have it logically set up, you can go back and make these adjustments and see, it may work if we're doing this at a considerably larger scale. So the pre-print previews will really help guide that.
In general, I would have a red outline around the outside.
Yeah.
And then everything on the inside would generally go lighter. So the smallest details I'm making the lightest. And again, after going into preview, I'll probably adjust some of this. But that's my gut instinct is dark perimeters, medium for the next biggest lines. Then we move down to the details. Same here. So anything internal. Double lines so close together would never be red. The closer they are, the lighter they need to be. So a nice red continuous line around the outside. This might be considered the inside, and then the red comes down. So I'm not sure where the red, I think this would continue to be red. That's my guess, but I'm not studying the section. So I'm going to say red down, 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 and then maybe these, or if now we're in the windows, I don't know, being that they're so close, they might end up being magentas. This might be magenta. So a red envelope around it. And then this stuff, if it's all beyond, it might all go green. I'm not sure. I'll have to see. If it's all back, it might get pushed back a ways. Let's see how that looks. And then I'll be done. So as a general strategy, can we see what's been cut? And we do see a red line. That's the start of it. So that's the biggest goal. So and it's not as, so there's a little bit more, there's a hierarchy. I think the green and the magenta or whatever this is and this became are still too close, perhaps. The green looks too dark. Like the lights are not light enough, I would say. Any other thoughts or questions? Otherwise, I'm gonna. So. Yes, they will get bigger, but being that there are more pieces, they have to be lightened up a little bit. You have to take some efforts to lighten them up. So not a lot of red stuff, not a lot of that dark stuff. All right, it's going to really be mostly medium and on down. And the lightest stuff will probably want to be a bit lighter than it shows up, because the siding becomes less important. It's more about getting, it's more important. The sections, I think, when you get into more detail, it's presenting the stuff that we've cut through clearly and letting the other stuff recede more.
And I guess we can create an even lighter layer so we have like
Yeah.
differentiation. Okay.
Yeah, you can create as much as you need. Should always be within, control. You don't want to get crazy. And
Yeah,
create.
not like 10 more,
Yeah.
but another one.
Yeah. Any other questions about CAD? Otherwise, I'm gonna let Michael say a few words about SketchUp and concluding thoughts. All right. So Sunday, plans and elevation, plans and sections definitely, and the other pieces are moving along. All right. I'm going to stop the share and stop talking. Where is the? Let me find my control. All right, it's all you, Michael.
All right, let's take a look at what I've been up to. Let's share and desktop. And so what I've been doing is going through the different CAD drawings and finding which ones had a completeness to them, and we could start manipulating them to do a SketchUp model. And in fact, there's probably almost too much information in these drawings. We're particularly with this house, this is the one we just ended with, the hut, there's a lot of articulation of the structure. We may not get into that level of detail. But what I've done is I've brought in imported the CAD files and then rotated them up. And that's a fairly grisly process, so that's why I did it for you, but I'll show you what it takes in one of the other projects, and I'll post these shortly on the Canvas site. So here we have our plan elevation section, and we can begin to construct this. So we're really, for two of the projects, we're going to be working both in section and building up in plan. So the hut has that is going to have that element where we're going to work with the plan, and we're also going to work in establishing this in section. And you want to think a little bit about how these were built or how they were meant to be seen. And that's why I just want to go back to bridge just a second here. So, you know, it's to clearly articulate the framing that runs all the way through this building. So we're going to create a series of trusses that are all going to be equal, and they're going to run right through the wall. Unlike what is being shown in the section, which is what you would do with a real building, we're going to have to take some liberties with it being a SketchUp model, where we care what it looks like and maybe not so much exactly how it was built. So this is what I was saying about the site plan. It really tells us very little. And we may not get into the jalousie, these windows, you know, they just may be solid glass. So we're going to have to look to simplify. So you want to start, as you look at this, you think about what views you want to highlight, and certainly looking right at this front elevation, the south elevation is something that we'll want to do in a SketchUp model, because this is this one or this one from slightly from the side really tell us about the whole project. And then we can do some smaller images, potentially. We hope to get to the interior, you know, to be able to show this. So, so this is the south, the front elevation, the floor plan, and these could be moved into place. But we're obviously looking at a couple different layers here. So this one is really going to be the key, this front elevation. And it could be moved. I'll show you with the yard house, which I also did. Window, yard house. So in this, I started manipulating. I moved the elevation to one side. This is the second floor plan. And the first floor plan, I moved in the section, where we're also going to be building it up in section as well as the exterior. So let me actually camera parallel. Camera parallel.
So it would technically be two drawings, right? One that shows the outside and one that shows the inside.
Yeah, and I would say for the hut, I think a view right on looking at the front of the building, this part here, and then a 3/4 view, and then an interior view. And we may not worry so much about the back of it, what the stuff that's going on back here. This area. But from here, and from inside here, looking out, those I think would be the three main views to concentrate on. So really getting into the bathroom and the back door and this area, it'd be nice to have it, but we may not need to model it. And that's sort of important to prioritize. Like what, so, you know, the toilet and the door and the bathroom, no, probably not. We don't need to model those things. And, you know, even this rear deck. let's see. So this is the second most popular now. It moved up in the popularity ranks. Let's see. I wanted to go to window yard house. And whoops, that's weird. Go. Um, let's see. And let me go to the last one, the lounge in Mexico. And let me get that up. Okay, this one I actually, because of stuff we were talking about at the beginning of class, I haven't turned, everything is lying flat on the ground. This building doesn't do a lot in section. So this is the one that actually you can do more or less like the first project we did where you're going to build from the ground up. It's a relatively straight extrusion going up, and then there's an enrobing or concrete wall that goes around it, and then the deck's projecting out. So here's the section, and let me show you what I actually did with the others, and then I'll post these on the website, and then I'd like you to just, for Tuesday's class, you've got a lot to do. I'd like you just to start looking at these, and we'll start going over the strategies for building them. So this is what I did. Top view. Okay. So let's say that I want to turn this so that it's in the same orientation and the section. So I have to do this in, well, 2 pieces. Okay, so this was the procedure that I went through. I'm going to click on this. When you import this in SketchUp Pro, it comes in as a component. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit, I'm going to copy, and I'm going to edit, paste in place. So there are now 2 copies sitting over each other. And then what I want to do is I'm going to take this guy, and this should be a horizontal line. This was Abdella's project that I decided to pick on. And I'm going to put this in. And I'm creating, when I rotate something, I really like to create a cube to rotate things around. Okay. So now let me, okay. So I'm going to take this. I am going to rotate it. And I'm going to so now the section is vertical. Okay. And you see there are 2 copies just to confuse you. So I'm going to do a little cleanup here, but I want to also turn this in the blue axis. So I'm going to select this and rotate it. Okay, so this now needs to be moved over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this unique. And I'm going to go in here and select this. Okay. I'm going to go over here and select this. Erase. And then the last thing I want to do is maneuver this over. So I did this. It isn't absolutely essential for this guy, but let me see. I want to maneuver it. And that's not quite in the right position. Just move that. So that really, the section just will give us the dimensions, the few vertical dimensions that we need. So let me see. Okay. So begin to take a look at these guys, and we'll pick up with modeling these on Tuesday. Okay.
So something will be due from them before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now is it's too late now to change projects. This particular project, as a lot of people picked up, is going to be fairly easy to model in SketchUp. The hut is probably going to be the hardest because it's got so much articulation and pieces to it. But they're all, the advantages, they're all straight extrusions, something that SketchUp does very well. But there's a lot of pieces to that. It's a stick-built structure. This is just reinforced concrete, glass wall, very, very similar, almost very similar to the project that we did for project 1. And the one thing we will want to do with this is the topography is we'll want to do the hillside, and we may want to do even more than this. Okay, let's stop the share.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the process of making 2 copies at the beginning?
I couldn't quite hear what you were saying. Abdullah, could you repeat that? I didn't quite hear you.
Okay. I said, what's the purpose of making 2 copies at the beginning?
Too fussy at the beginning?
Making 2 copies?
Making
Your
2 copies.
Your microphone's not working too well, Abdullah.
Yeah.
You got to speak into your microphone. Speak closer. We can't hear you, Abdullah. We can't understand.
Or could you text us? If you can't, if we can't get the microphone working.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I unfortunately have to run at 4:30. Well, not literally, just to another Zoom.
Yeah.
So I guess after we send whatever final for the section and the plan, we should try and import it on SketchUp so we can have it ready for Tuesday.
No, I've done it for you.
Okay.
I've already done this. I picked the best as of today, what was turned in this morning. I picked the best of those, and I've already imported this for you. You can't do it unless you have SketchUp Pro. You can't import AutoCAD files. That's why I'm providing you this service. Plus, the rotating things is really irritating. It's really hard. So that's why I've moved things kind of into place for you to save you that aggravation.
I don't know why I thought we were going to have to do that. That's why I asked only.
Yeah, I mean, if you have access to SketchUp Pro, you can do it. But no, that's why I'm doing this for you.
Okay.
Did you upload them already, Michael?
I have not. I have not uploaded.
Okay.
But I will.
So Michael will let you know, and I could stay and answer questions if you have to go, Michael.
Oh, thanks.
But he'll let you know over the weekend, and we'll touch base on Tuesday. All right. I'm going to stick around for final questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you, Michael.
Oh, okay. I have moments to answer any questions.
Okay. All right.
And then I'll.
Other questions? SketchUp questions before Michael has to go? All right.
All right. Well, then I will say good luck. Work hard, which you already have done. I look forward to seeing your final AutoCAD. In this case, remember, it's a PDF.
Yes.
The reason I wanted DWG files today, even though they're more frustrating to review than PDFs, is so that I could do the importing for you. So I hope you don't mind. You're going to work off of the CAD drawings of someone else.
That's fine.
Yeah, I thought it would be okay.
Yeah.
And those that I selected, Abdullah, Dow, and Leilani, thank you for doing a very nice job. I'm sure all of you will do a great job with your CAD files.
Thanks for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.